Need some extra strength to face whatever is to be. This day, more than any other day, I need to feel you near to fortify my courage and to overcome my fears. So it's a beautiful prayer. Keep it, memorize it, say it, but it's a wonderful prayer. So today I'm going to talk about me, my life. When I was telling a member of my family that I walk around when I speak, so when I told a member of my family that I'm coming to speak in front of people, she goes, "Ew, who wants to hear your stupid stories? You're telling all your business to people. Woo, that's spooky." I said, I'm not going to say her name. I said, you know what? God bless you. And I left it there. So there's two things I noticed here today walking around. Two things. Number one, we are all children of God. Number two, we are all sinners. Anybody who thinks they're not a sinner is a bigger sinner. I was the salt in the city. That devil owned my life for 50 years, controlled my life. I knew very, very little about God. I was born September 30th, 1951. My dad was 40, my mother was 37, my youngest sister was 12, so I think I was an oops. And what a oops I became. I was spoiled rotten, and as life went on, we had a wonderful family. I was never made to go to church. I was baptized Eastern Serbian Orthodox. We only went to church, like the Catholic faith, Easter and Christmas. And I never really understand why I was never made to go to church. I always wondered that. So growing up, I had a nice childhood. Every Sunday, aunts, uncles, come to my mom's house, we ate dinner. It was great. Everything was great. And when I was younger, I used to say the Our Father before bedtime. That was it. So as I became a teenager in high school, I'd say the Our Father like I did prior. But I'd say it like, not that I should say it, it was a habit that I was accustomed to. So in high school, I met my wife, Jane, went to college together, and we had a great life. 3 beautiful children, beautiful wife, but I never, ever came to church. She made sure her and our children went to church every Sunday. And she'd go, "Come on, Pete, come with me." And I'd be having a cigarette hanging out of my mouth, and I'd say, "Pray for me." Okay. So as life went on, I had everything I wanted, every single thing I wanted. I had money, prestige, power, cars, jewelry, trips. I had everything I wanted, but there was still something missing. So the devil, he's here right now. He's in the church right now, and he's weak. He is weak. All you have to do is deny him, because he still tries to get me back, because I was basically like a disciple of his, and he don't like to lose. But he lost this battle, and I fight him every single day. My life isn't a perfect life, but you know why? But you know what keeps me from listening to him is faith. Faith, 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 faith in God. And all you have to do is say 3 words. Jesus, help me. And he runs away like a slimy skunk that he is. So life went on. I had everything I wanted. So in November, December 1999, I was at my mother's house. And things were going bad for me. My family was good, but everything else was going bad. Starting to lose money. And I hung around with some unsavory characters during my time. And things were going bad. So my mother goes, "Petey, pray to God." And I went like this. I said, this is my God, money. I pulled it out. When I said that, something clicked in my head. Ooh, that was bad. I mean, like, really bad. So I'm going through life, and in 2000, my mother, actually it's her birthday today, she'd have been 126. She wasn't feeling good, so we took her to the doctors. I took her to the doctors, and they send her back home. 2 days later, I take her to the doctors, send her back home. 3 days later, I called an ambulance to come and take her to the hospital. And she stayed. This was on a Thursday. On Saturday, February 13th, she died, 85 years old. And she was full of cancer. We never knew, but you knew for 6 months or so that things weren't going well. I wanted to kiss her before she passed away, and she says, behave yourself. I've heard that all my life, behave myself. But it was in a different meaning and a context that I took it. So things started going real bad for me. 2000, it was a nightmare. My wealth is disappearing. And I couldn't understand why. I mean, I had money, serious money. And it was disappearing. And the year came, kept on coming, and it got worse as the year went on. My businesses were starting to fail. I was on pension. I had a great job with Monroeville. On August 11th, it was 28 years I retired. I retired at age 47. And I made good money with Monroeville. So, things are just going lousy. And, you know, I couldn't figure it. And when I pray to God, here's what I'd say. I'd say to Our Father, hey, God, I want this. I want that. I need this. I need that. I want this. I want that. Never thanked him in my life. Did I thank him for what I had? And as time went on, I realized it. And it was just, and I'd go to church with Jane and my kids on Christmas, Easter. And I'd sit there, I'd stand up when everybody stood up. When everybody knelt, I sat down. And I'd look around, I said, look at these idiots here praying. For what? They're going to be holy now when they walk out that door. They're going to be the biggest sinners like they were before they walked in that door. Because I didn't know anything. I knew nothing. That people would say the rosaries. I said, what are they praying these beads for? They're like Indians, American Indians with beads, praying to the gods up above. So, 2021. I mean, things were like as bad could be. I was in deep trouble. My wealth went, for all the wealth I had, turn it around, that's how much I was in debt. I was borrowing, using credit cards, doing all these things to keep up the lifestyle that I enjoyed. So that meant, I'm up at the middle school. I don't know if you all know where that's at, across from Gateway, Overland, Penn Highway. So I'm up there, and I was exercising. I'd walk, jog. I was so down. And I'm walking. There was a car there. There was a human being there. So I got to the 50-yard line by the bleachers. I looked over to the left. There was a young person in a light blue jean jacket, white t-shirt, blue jeans, leaning against it. I had a power so strong that I ran to get there. And when I got there, I fell on my knees. It was so beautiful. It was, oh God, it was so beautiful. I fell on my knees, and I started crying. I felt fear. I felt anxiety. I felt joy. I felt every single emotion. I don't know if it was Jesus, my guardian angel, a saint, but when I fell on my knees, that person was gone. Because I looked up, like I said, nobody was there. I got home, and I go to Jane. I said, you're never going to believe what happened to me. And I told her. She said, great. That's the best thing that could ever happen to you. So from that day forward, I picked up the Bible, and I started reading it. From page 1 through all the end of Revelation. Didn't understand one thing. But as I kept on reading, I kept on understanding. So I would go to church with Jane and the kids, and I didn't understand anything, but I knelt when people knelt. And when I started saying my prayers at night, I thanked God for all the blessings I had. First time I ever thanked Him. And everything went down a poop chute. I lost everything. Everything. I lost everything but my home. My family, thanked by the grace of God, was always intact. And I lost all my money. I was busted out. Busted out. They took all my cars away except for one. I got to keep my home. And I was like Nebuchadnezzar, you know. Took everything, and now I'm at the bottom, and I have to get back on top. So how did I get back on top? Was faith. That miracle that I experienced at the middle school was the first miracle I ever had. And I didn't believe in miracles, but I do today. So I started going to Bible studies, started talking to my buddy Deacon, trying to figure out all this stuff. What's this all about? I had no idea that all this even existed in life, because I was never taught. So, moving forward, I became a good Christian. So, being baptized, Serbian, Eastern, and Orthodox, I converted to Catholicism. Father Mike Dekowitz did it because I didn't have to go through RCIA or anything, because we already had our baptism, first communion, everything at the beginning. So he brought me in as a Byzantine Catholic. So I started going to church. I hit every Bible study that I could find at this parish, talked to my buddy Deacon, talked to Father Tony, but I was much better by then. And I learned, and I kept reading the Bible. And I'd have a different interpretation every time I read it. I had a different interpretation. And then sooner or later, after several years, things started clicking in my head. Now I understand this. Now I understand that. I still don't understand everything. But that is what faith does. I don't care what's wrong in your life. We all have problems. I'm not in a great situation, but faith keeps you going. All you have to do when you get down, say 3 words: Jesus, help me. And He will help you, but you got to ask. He's not going to jump forward, because I think He jumped forward when He knew how lost I was, and He found me at that track. That He did jump forward to. So I'm moving along with life, and things are pretty good. We had one car. She worked. I was retired, and I started working at a golf course 3 days a week. The other 2 days I didn't work, I delivered flowers. Me, Pete Bobich, delivering flowers. It was unbelievable. So I did it because I had to do it. I had to do it to get myself back on track. So one day I take these 10 balloons to the hospital, pull them out. It's like a tornado. These balloons are bouncing, hitting me in the head. My blood pressure's going up. I finally get in the door. I'm in the elevator, and people are moving with these balloons. Who I was back when I was younger, I'd have let those balloons go in the wind. I would have. I would never do it. So I did all this, and I grew in faith. I love God, our Lord, more than anything in this world. He's above all. He's above my family. He's above anybody, anything. And my faith started to save me. And things started getting better. Not great, but like I said, I had to crawl. You have to crawl before you walk. That's definite. And so things were getting better. I was doing better. We finally got another car. I continued to work at the golf course part-time. And before, when I was a bad boy, I had the money. I used to go golfing 3 days a week. My wife was working. I was retired, had a business. My kids ran it. Blow $200-300 every time I went out. I never left my house when I was a bad boy, unless I had $1,000 in my pocket. And people, I thought, loved me, respected me. You know, I'd buy, hey, give everybody in this bar a drink, big shot. And that's what I thought I wanted. So things were going good. She worked here at the parish. She was a secretary. And things were going good. And I was starting to get more understanding of what the Bible means. The Old Testament, the New Testament. How it comes into play. From the Old Testament and the New Testament, it blends right in. So everything's going hunky-dory. I became an usher. I volunteered for everything. I never miss a mass. We used to go on vacation. First thing I did after we brought the luggage in, and I made everybody else unpack because I didn't like it, I found a church that was nearby. And we went to church. We went to church every time on vacation. And my life is going pretty good. Faith saved me. So my wife got sick in 2007. I saw signs of her, something wasn't right. So she was, it was a mess. It was a nightmare. And finally on Memorial Day of 2008, she had to go to the hospital, or the Allegheny Journal. That was it. And we both knew that she was never coming back. It was just, that's it. So she was there, and I'd go every day, and I'd pray, I'd talk to her, say the rosaries. I was there every day except for 2 days. On Father's Day and when I ran the Knights of Columbus golf outing. And it was just heartbreaking. All these priests would come in. Father Tony, Deacon's my man. He always was, he always will be. And, you know, coming in, and I'm watching what they're doing to her. And faith. I knew what I had to do, but my faith finally got me to do it. It was time for her to leave. And I told these doctors this, and they go, oh, well, I said, she's never going to be all right. And excuse my language, I said, let's put horse shit in one another here. And that's what I said. I want everything pulled out, all the intravenous's and everything. This was on a Friday. Monday at 2 o'clock, the breathing tube. I had all my kids, grandkids come in, say their final goodbyes, and they pulled that breathing tube out. She lasted 1 minute. I thank God. Do you believe that? I thank God. Because when we lose a loved one, it's horrible. You think it just rips your heart apart. But faith will save you. And what's harder when you lose a loved one is moving forward. That's hard because you have people around you after the funeral for a couple of weeks. Everybody's there with you and everything's honky-dory. But when they all leave and you're by yourself, you realize it. So after that, I had a calling to become a grief share facilitator. And I did that for 5 years, and I liked it. But COVID came in and our group got busted up. So after she died, we went up to Job, made all the arrangements, and then we went down to the cemetery. And there was 2 plots next to my in-laws. My wife told me for years, buy those plots, but I ain't buying those cemetery plots. It's the last thing I want to spend money on. And when we got there, I asked her about the 2 plots, and she says, they've been, person purchased them like 25 years ago. And I said, so I picked something close. That was on Saturday. Monday morning, another miracle. Monday morning, she calls me up. She goes, Pete, you're not going to believe this. I said, what? The people who owned those plots didn't want them anymore. Miracle number 2, because she got her wish to be next to her parents. Miracle number 2. And so, you know, life goes on. Who I was 20 years ago and who I am today, I would have hated that person. That Pete Bobich, I couldn't stand him. And I try to do good, you know. I'm sorry, everybody has problems. If anybody in here says they don't have a problem, they're lying. Because we all have it, but you gotta have faith. Faith in God will get you through any disaster, doom, despair, agony. He will get you through it. You've got to have faith. And like I said, 3 words. When that devil, oh man, he tries to get me back. You don't know the things he puts in my head. And I said, wow. And I'd say, Jesus, help me. And he runs away. A couple hours later, he's whispering in my ear again. Jesus, help me. Again, he's doing it. Jesus, help me. Sometimes I say it 10 times a day. Other times, I think I'm free and clear. There it is going along. Then he whispers in my ear again. And it's a battle. It'll be a battle to the day I die. Because, like I said, I was his disciple. He owned me. And when he loses something he owns, he fights hard for it. But you got to understand, he's a weak slime ball. You only let him defeat you if you don't have faith. So, what else I got to say? I lost my train of thought. And I'm only 50. Boy, that sucks. So, I don't worry. I try to live life like this. Yesterday's gone forever. Not a thing I could do about it. Tomorrow's a gift from God if it comes. Today, there's enough on my plate to deal with. And that's why I don't worry. My grandkids, my kids will throw me a curveball, and they'll upset my apple cart, then I get concerned. But I try not to worry. I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow. I can't control what happened yesterday. I got to deal with what's happening today. And is it a bed of roses? Not always. But you know what I say again? Faith. You've got to have faith. I know I said that probably 20 times. You've got to have faith in God. You cannot have faith in God, you're in trouble. I don't care how many times you walk into that church. If you don't have the faith, all you're doing is spinning your wheels. You've got to thank God for everything. Even when things are bad for me, I thank God. Because I know he has a plan for me that is better than anything that I could imagine. And I thank him when things are bad. I said, God, I trust you. I know you have a plan for me that is better than anything I can imagine. And it works. And, what else? Oh, I'm losing it. Excuse me, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So, here's another thing that happened to me. This was a zinger of all zingers. Sometimes I'm sleeping in bed, and I can feel my wife next to me. Like I feel like I'm hugging her. And then I'd wake up, dreaming, I thought. 4 months ago, I'm in bed. I wake up, and there was this bright light that was so bright, I was like, wow. And then how we have where the orchestra plays, the band, they play, the choir area, they have that door that comes down here. There was my wife and a bunch of people there was no face, anything, like shadows. And she's going, Pete, it's time. I said, and I hear a deep voice. I'm not ready for him yet. I jumped out of bed. You talk about trembling. I said, man, my end's coming, right? But God talks to me in my sleep. He really does. He puts ideas in my head that I pray about and gives me a solution to those problems. And it just, all I'm saying is, love God. Have faith. Miracles do happen when you least expect them. But have faith. You've got to have faith. Because you lose faith for one split second, that devil's flying in on you, trying to take control of your soul. And before I close here, I don't want to stay here all day, but before I close here, there's something that disturbs me. And maybe this isn't the time or the place, but I'm going to say it anyways. Adoration. Every Thursday we have adoration. There's a couple of us here who volunteer every Thursday, same time. I was in there last Thursday because one person couldn't make it. I got there at 11 o'clock, okay? There wasn't a soul that came in there but me. It was me, Jesus, one-on-one. And that disturbs me. I know we all have busy schedules in life. We all have things that tie us up. But to be the privilege of sitting and being with Christ face to face it's the most beautiful thing that could ever happen. And you don't have to come for hours or everything, but at least stop in 15 minutes and pray and say what you want to say, or just shut up and listen to what he's going to tell you, Because Saint Alfonso Luigi, he said the most important thing is adoration. Go to adoration. Go to every adoration you could find. At least spend 15 minutes, because that's what the Lord likes. With you, face to face. And he does tell you things. He does. And it's beautiful. So I urge you, please, if you could spend 15 minutes on a Thursday to go up there, pray, sit, and listen, it'll be great. Because a parish of this size, it disturbs me that nobody comes. It really does. And if I'm talking out of school, I'm sorry, but it disturbs me. So that's really all I have to say. I thank you for all coming here. I hope I got through, at least to one of you, because it made this speech worthwhile to me. I thank you. God bless. Be safe. Oh, before I go, at the door, I'll be signing autographs. I'll give you $1. I'll give you $1 each if you take one.